Munster and Leinster, folks. The rivalry continues, and it's a 1-point game, 20 points to 19. Leinster getting the job done away from home. We're going to go through some key events and stats. You guys can let us know your thoughts. My thoughts are, this is the one that got away for Munster. You score 3 tries to 2. Leinster without a few of their big guns, like Josh van der Fleer not there, Sexton not there, Gibson Park not there, like other guys as well. James Ryan, Tyke Furlong, like there's a few guys out. You're at home. The crowd was absolutely ferocious on Munster's side, but just kind of unable to get it done. Leinster took an early lead with a 3-0 penalty jobby. Ross Byrne kicked most of his goals in this one. Leinster got a scrum penalty as well. Crowd didn't like that one because it looked like the Munster guys were going forward. The scrum did kind of go a bit back and forth in this one. And Max Deegan kind of flipped Peter O'Mahony over, which was a weird one. He took a bit of a tumble, but the ref said there was really nothing doing. That was one of the more bizarre moments I've seen. But Munster doing their big turnovers thing on defence, kind of keeping the Leinster guys limited to only penalties. They did get another one on 18 minutes when Leinster was starting to get their offload game going. But honestly, it's relatively quiet for the first, I want to say like half an hour in terms of like there's no genuine, real kind of try-scoring opportunities. Munster got a scrum penalty on 22 minutes. They opted for 3 on that one, which they missed. And in the scheme of things, it's a pretty big miss. Obviously, you didn't know that at the time. Half an hour, though, Munster finally get some phases going. They go 5 metres out. Leinster concede a penalty. Munster tap it. And eventually, that man, Gavin Coombs, and I said it in the live stream that we did, if you're going to bet on a Munster try scorer, Gavin Coombs seems like a pretty likely prospect because that guy is very, very difficult to stop. The TMO did that to check his grounding. First angle looked alright. Second angle looked like there might be a hand, but no. It was all good. So 7 points to 6. That is your first lead change. Munster starting to get a bit of momentum. James Lowe kicks the ball dead. So definitely a bit of momentum going Munster's way, although kind of unable to capitalise. Peter O'Mahony, big turnover on defence, keeps the Leinster guys kind of limited again in their chances. And then a little bit of a kind of careless one with like very little time left on the clock. Leinster kind of have been pushing, and Munster, I think it was Conor Murray, chose to kick rather than go like maybe one more phase. I forget how much time was on the clock, but I feel like it did give Leinster one last chance to attack before half time, and attack they did to the point where they had a shot at goal when Munster conceded a penalty right before halftime, so a chance to go into the halftime break potentially squandered for Munster, but that's the one kick Ross Byrne misses. So Munster do take that 1 point lead into the sheds. They've had more possession, 63%, but less territory, 49, so pretty tight, but all that ball, and it's sometimes hard to get out of your own half, which is going to prove to be pretty telling later on in the game. Run meters 218 to 140, so Munster have been on top. But Leinster's tackling percentage is 92. I mean, Munster's 89, which is also very solid, and you can tell there's only one try in the first half. But, Leinster's defence is pretty hard to break down. Start of the second half, and it starts to go really well for Munster, doesn't it? They managed to get a penalty try when they win a penalty. They take a 5 metre line out. Their maul's going forward, and then Deegan brings it down. So it's a penalty try, and Deegan goes into the bin. So it's a 14-6 lead, Munster at home, and you've got a man up for the next 10 minutes. What happens in the next 10 minutes? Leinster scored 2 bloody tries. It's almost unbelievable how well they played in that 10-minute period. Like they were just mad by the fact that they got such a deficit, and the fact they had a man down. They were not happy. They get the first try in the yellow card through Scott Penny. This one was, they had a bunch of phases and pressure, but basically when they had a penalty, they decided to tap from 5 metres out, but instead of just barging over as the initial carriers approached the Munster defenders, they just popped the ball out and Penny was able to drive over. So a bit of a trick play and bold with a man down, you're in that position, very kickable penalty. Why not just take the 3? Well, because they want 7. So it's back to a 1-point ball game. And then they eventually are able to get another one through Dan Sheehan. And it's another bloody tap. But this time, they didn't do a trick play. They just tried to drive over. So maybe the Munster guys are in two minds. But 14 points during the yellow card. It is absolutely madness. And I mean, Leinster had been close before Dan Sheehan was able to finish that one. Like Earls, to be fair, had dropped a kick which is a little bit too big. It was over his head. If he catches that, it's a mark and it's an exit. But it's a bit of drop ball. Ross Byrne had done a cross kick the other way. And Munster's defences had to scramble. But ultimately, it all ends up with Leinster getting a second try. So it's 14 points in 10 minutes with 14 men. So 20 points to 14. They are in front. So, yeah, pretty crazy. Munster do, once they go back to 15 on 15, manage to kind of wrestle some momentum back. And they go through some phases of their own. It doesn't look like they're going to break down Leinster's defence, but Leinster's defence does get a bit narrow. And then Craig Casey, who's come on for Murray, just hoofs the thing wide. I say hoofs, but I mean he passes it. It's a ripper of a pass out wide. And he gets it to this man Campbell, who manages to go over in the corner pretty much unopposed. Like Lowe is scrambling across to get him, but he can't get there in time. So it's a big conversion for Carberry from the sideline, a clutch one. If he gets it, he's potentially a hero. But it misses. So it's a 1-point lead for Leinster with about 15 minutes to go. Luke McGrath has a crazy moment where he gets a nice line break, but gets isolated. So the Munster guys manage to turn him over. But from here, like, Munster are unable to exit their own half for like the last 10 minutes. They miss touch at one point. Crowley's come on for Carberry. He misses touch. And then Leinster just keep Munster in their own half basically until full time. Like, it's not like Munster don't have some ball. They have their own ball. They have to exit about 3 times. They can't get anywhere. They have one penalty on their own 22. They kick it into touch, but they don't get much distance on Crowley's kick, so they're back trying to exit again. Leinster do attack towards the end of play, but eventually knock it on. And Munster have got to go from a scrum length of the field, but they cannot get it done. So, yeah, man, it's a pretty clinical way to finish the game, but ultimately it finishes a 1-pointer. So, yeah, the team that scored more tries, unable to get it done, but the team that kicked their goals, Munster were 1 from 3, whereas Leinster were 4 from 5 from the boot. So, maybe a little bit of feather in the cap of Ross Byrne for that one. That being said, he did kick a couple from hand towards the end of the game, which were way too deep, but ultimately he's a match winner, isn't he? So possessions 51-49, so pretty tight in the end. Territory finishes 60-40 in favour of Leinster, and second half territory is 68-32, so Munster just unable to get to their own half. Run meters 344 to 332, not much in it. Turnovers 1, Munster doing their thing 9-5, so they get the Lions share, but then ball in hand, Leinster more defenders beaten 13-9, more clean breaks 5-2. So just looked like doing more with ball in hand. Tackling percentage, Munster is 90%, which is really impressive, but Leinster is 95. So just next level, man. So there you go, 1-pointer, Leinster, Munster. Happy holidays, everyone. Merry Christmas if I haven't been online for a couple of days, so Merry Christmas for you guys up north and also for you guys down here in the south. Wishing you guys Happy New Year break. Take care of yourselves and yeah, let us know your thoughts. I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.